Everybody, and welcome to TnB, welcome to season 2, round 1. We're in Austria, and as you can see, conditions do not look pleasant. A nice reintroduction to F1. You see, we're at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Quick circuit. Interesting to see how many of the drivers have prepared for the wet, and also going forward, is this weather going to go into the race, or are we going to have a dry race? So if any of the drivers are listening, and you can let me know somehow, what are the weather conditions for the race? Because these look hideous. A lot of the drivers are out on circuit. No lap times as of yet, everyone on a warm-up lap. See, one major rule change here at TnB for Season 2 is regarding the setup of the car. And in this season, drivers will not be able to set up their car. They will just race on the default setup for qualifying and the race. So does throw a spanner in the works for some of the quicker guys, and maybe allows that midfield to catch up a little bit. Could mix up one or two results. Riding now with the Merc driver, Captain Ice. Hasn't set a lap time as of yet. Your commentator for Season 1 missed the car too much, so we switched positions. Well, there's your first lap time. It's a 1:15.5. That will be our first benchmark lap time. Captain Ice briefly goes second, immediately going over the line to set their lap times. Connor and Ronald, first and second, both in the 1:15s. Then we have Staffy in a 1:16.9. And then Henno, Captain Ice. Now Wolf goes third with a 1:16.0. It's 9/10 faster than Staffy. Here we go, Morris 25. He goes fourth for McLaren. Also, another thing to remember is we don't know how these conditions will play out towards Q3. Could maybe even have a drying track, or maybe even a dash with slicks. Still a bit of time between now and then, so time will tell. Connor goes fastest again, improves that time, a 1:14.4 now. So I wonder if maybe the rain just a little bit better than or less severe than when we started. Maybe the track just getting a bit, improving a little bit, getting some rubber down. So currently we've got Connor Young in first, got Wolf in second, Ronald in third, DW fourth, Henno fifth, Morris sixth, Staffy 7th, Captain Ice 8th. And then that's the only men to have set a lap time so far. By my count, still 7 or 8 drivers in the pits yet to make a lap time or an attempt. As I say that, Cowboy departs from the pit lane. Obviously 19 cars, got quite a full grid. Going to have 4 cars eliminated at the end of the session, so guys will be going around. They will be looking to improve. They don't want to fall out of qualifying in Q1. Might have a bit of a busy track. Connor should be happy with that as he comes into the pits now. 1:14.4. Man who's got closest to him so far is second place TnB. He's got that 1:15.2. It's still a very big margin, 0.8 of a second between first and second. Wolf still sitting in third place, 1:15.4. And nothing in it between third and fourth with Ronald on a 1:15.5, just 0.1 of a second. In all of that, somehow I missed Gavin going over the line. He did a 1:17.5. He's now coming into the pits. Obviously now things do get more difficult with the default setup. In the previous season, Parc Fermé rules were off, and in an event like this you could come into the pits and maybe fine-tune things you were not happy with, but now there's really nothing you can do. You just got to go in, change tires, go out again and try harder. So clearly the guys that are the best with their setups, they will be at a disadvantage this season. Tix has gone second fastest with a 1:14.6. That's just 0.2 of a second off first place. So I think the track is improving. I see a lot less raindrops on my screen. And I'm sure by Q3 maybe we'll even have a dry line. Let's drive on board now with Cameron in the Ferrari this season. Might be mistaken, he's a tier 2 driver, but he's driving a Ferrari right now. Of that I'm certain. Currently 19th, but that's because he has not set a lap time. One of the quicker drivers in the field. Just probably doesn't get to the finish line as many times as he'd like, but definite potential. As I say that, commentator's curse, when will I learn? Cameron goes off track. Luckily no damage to the car, just squirming about on the grass, but manages to get back on the tarmac. Will he come into the pits or have another go? Looks like he's going to have another go at it. Got away with that. It wasn't anything too severe. Watch his teammate now, currently in 13th, that's 3 seconds off the pace. Not sure he's not happy with that initial lap time. He's out now on the second attempt at a fast lap. Car squirming around, doesn't look very happy in these conditions. Like I said, it is a difficult situation with the setup. See now, Gavin goes around the last corner, he's going to go over the line. Can he improve on that time of his? And no, he doesn't, stays the same, 13. Goes down to 14, and now he's getting into the danger territory. He's got 6 minutes left on the clock. You want to get into the pits, get up for another lap and have another go. Well, the way things stand, he's at threat of falling out of Q1. At the top, TnB, he went fastest by 0.2 of a second, and as I say that, Connor has taken it back. He's put a 1:14.0. We're going to see these lap times come down. The track is definitely in better shape than when we started, and I think we're going to see some quick laps by the time we get to Q3. I'm not sure if DW's on an in-lap or he's going to look to improve. Seems like he's on an in-lap. So far, that top three, we've got Connor, DW and Tux. And it's changed. Wolf has taken second place, and look at the gap between first and second. You don't see that every day, just 0.002 of a second. So, as we stand, Connor in first, Wolf second, DW third. 5 minutes remaining on the clock for Q1. Let's have a look at what's going on with the rest of the field. We've got Y Racer in 5th place currently, 0.7 of a second off provisional pole. He's in the Red Bull, slowing down a lot coming into the pits. Seems like Staffy also on an in-lap. There we go, I'm looking for someone on a fast lap, and Henno seems to be on a fast lap, so let's go with him. No, it's an out lap. Sorry about all the changing camera angles. I'm looking for the there we go. Just looking for a fast lap. So Connor's got that 1:14.0. Wolf's just 0.002 of a second off the pace. And then we've got Ronald 10th off the pace in third. DW 0.2 off the pace in fourth. So 0.2 of a second cover the top four. Half a second cover the top five. Riding on board with Vino. He goes faster, he goes third. Just can call it 0.2 of a second off the pace. Nothing in it at the top. Let's have a look at the other side of the table. Who's at risk? We've got Purki in 16th. 4.5 seconds off the pace. He's going to have to find a second if he's going to demote Gavin. And he has, well, he's going to start on a fast lap now, and let's see what he can do. Judge yet to set the lap time. I've noticed his name on my screen once or twice. He might be having an issue or two of some sort, but yet to set a lap time. Then we've got Devon in the Renault. Currently 19th in the standing there. Also yet to set a lap time. And if this is an outlap, you better get a move on. Just the 2 minutes remaining on the clock. You'll end up losing it and wasting a bit of time in the grass, and you're not going to be able to get around. Don't cut it too close. Tix goes fastest with a 1:13.9. They've broken into the 1:13s. Track definitely improving. And just 27 hundredths of a second between the top three. No change at the bottom there. We have Robbie with us today, joining us at the end of Q1. He's going to be co-commentating with me today until he gets back in the car around about round 3, round 4. Welcome.
Thanks, Jono. Yeah. I want to watch his Gavin as he's in 15th.
Have you had a look at these? Results? I think these results would have been really interesting if it had been Q3 in drying conditions.
Yeah. It would have been interesting.
Took some provisional pole with a 1:13.9, and if you look at that top three, you'll see just 27 hundredths of a second. It's unheard of.
The run's right, so you don't know.
The top 15 do go through, so Gavin should be safe. But
unless
like I say in every commentary session, you never know with this game. I've seen a field of 9 cars in Q2 and then 7 cars in Q3. So they demoted 2 for reasons I'll never understand. Captain Nice retiring from the session, but that's probably because we have no time left on the clock.
So Gavin is taking to Q2 at this stage.
Yeah, it could have been very different if Devon and Judge had put lap times in.
And more
was 3.5 seconds off the pace, so I think it wouldn't have been the most difficult lap to beat. But unfortunately, the guys weren't able to get out of the pits and put a lap time in. So it seems like guys that will not be attending Q2 would be Burki, Monet, Judge and Devon. I don't think we'll be seeing any change. There's no one on a fast lap. I think have a look at 16th place, if you will, there, Robbie. You'll see Burki's car, and if you go on to his TV pod cam, tell me, is that wheel broken?
I see. Yeah, it is. But that was after he crossed the finish line with the flag
I see.
out.
Because I haven't seen anything informing us about a retirement, so but that wheel was definitely broken. It's definitely an interesting session. Not the top 3 I would have expected. Nicely done. Let's hope that they can replicate that performance in Q2.
Well, probably gonna be dry, or on the verge of being dry. And I'm seeing more rain.
I actually see more drops than I saw at the end of Q3, so yeah. Well, let's go down the order. Obviously Tix in first place with that great lap time, 1:13.9. Then Connor second, Wolf in third, 28 hundredths of a second between the top 3. Vino in fourth, Ronald fifth, DW coming out in sixth, Cam seventh, Y Racer eighth, Staffy 9th, and then Morris makes up the top 10. And then, if I still have time, the men that are going out, that would be Burki, Monet, Judge, and Devon. So as we go into Q2, we need to, I think the most important thing about Q2 is what weather are we going to see on our screens in a few moments.
And if it's dry, what tires, what strategies? And it's dry.
Well, I don't see any drops. So I think we could be having a dry session.
So now the question is what tires you go out on. Because this is the important session.
Robbie, I've commentated and streamed on many races. You should listen to me. What did I say about Gavin? And about this game? And you never know. Gavin is not here.
I see that.
These things always happen.
Oh, hello. Devsik is out. He crashed into the pit wall on the exit. Around that kink.
So that will be the end of Death Seeker's session. We've already lost one car from Q2. So we're just going to have the 13 runners. Obviously, like I said in Q1, I don't know how this game calculates it at times. But Gavin should have been safe there in 15th, but got demoted. So he will take no further part in qualifying. A lot of guys out on track, no lap times as of yet.
And interesting, most of the drivers are on the fastest tyre.
Let's have a look.
Only Big W on the supers, but still in the pit, so that could still change.
Well, I think there's a bit of a mix of tyres there. Some of the guys still sitting in the pits, but there's a bit of a mix between supers, ultras, and then just the one driver. And it's Y-Racer on softs. It's probably your best bet. Have a go on softs. If it's not fast enough, well, go on the faster tyre. Because I think if you can manage to qualify really high up the grid on the harder compound, it's a bit of an advantage for the race.
Yeah.
I think Vino now just slowing down so he can go into that final corner and start his outlap, try and get the best traction possible. Now it's very important here at turn 1. Turn 1, one of the pivotal corners here at Austria. You need to get it right. Next corner we're coming up to is just as important. Get your braking point wrong, you're going to run wide. Nicely done, a bit squirmish on the exit, but catches it nicely.
Oh, hello. Connor Young lap got this disallowed. He did a 105.6 and he got disallowed.
Not quite sure what happened there, but he must have left the circuit. But following Vino at the moment, it's in the third sector. Gonna go into the penultimate corner. Let's see what sort of lap time he can do. He's on a set of super softs. Into the final corner. He'll go over the main straight. And he goes third. Nicely done, a 106.8. Your top 4 drivers in the 106s. And look at that, a 105.7. Ronald. Nicely done, showing early pace here in Q2. Just seen the 9 drivers so far set a lap time. We've got another 5 times. And you don't want to leave it too late into the session. Cameron goes fastest.
What a lap. And the gap is very small.
It's an extremely small gap. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what, 9
thousandths. 0.009.
I think it's 19, but
I checked. No, it's
That's insane.
0.009. I checked.
Really good. Brilliant lap time. Maybe a sign of something to come for this season. Okay, maybe been putting a bit of extra time in. Who knows? Well, we all know he's a quick driver, and I think if he can put those laps together over 100% distance, I think he's a potential race winner. But now Ronald coming into the pits. He's got that 105.7. I'm sure he thought that was going to be provisional pole, but it wasn't for long. Wolf also in the pits, so your top three all in the pits. They're now on an in lap.
Looks like DW's on that fast lap.
Let's see, let's join DW. He's at the bottom of the list so far in 14th. We go with him now, on board. Into that penultimate sweeping right-hander. And then the final corner now over the straight. Let's see what sort of lap time he can put down. He's going to go 4th. Nice benchmark lap for him, a 106.1. And he did that on the super softs. He didn't do it on the fastest tyre available. Actually have a look. Yeah, definitely your top two runners, Cam and Ronald, they're on ultra softs.
Okay.
And Wolf and DW in 3rd and 4th, they're on the supers. So with such a small gap between the four, I think if 3rd and 4th had been on the softer tyre, they'd probably be ahead. It's a lot of pace there. Now another man that was really quick in Q1 was Connor. He has not as of yet set a lap time. He's out on circuit on what I believe is a fast lap. He's got a set of ultras on that car. Need to just keep an eye on him and see what lap time he can put in. He was in the top 3. Very quick driver from what I've seen so far. So now into the 3rd sector. Cameron's time still stands for now. 105.7. Around the final corner, activates DRS. Connor goes over the line and takes pole. Look at that. A 105.3.
Oh no, sorry.
It's about between 4 tenths and half a second. That's a reasonable gap. And I rode on board with him because I saw him in Q1 and I thought, okay, watch this guy. Well, I'd love to ride on board with Cameron, but as you can hear, I just can't do that. That car sounds terrible. Seems like it's stuck in 2nd, that's what it sounds like. Just looking for some drivers on track. Got Cameron out on circuit, but really difficult to watch him. It's going to different camera mode. Maybe can't hear the engine. Sounds a bit better.
Oof.
Cameron's out on a lap. It's obviously safe for Q3. Cameron's obviously safe for Q3, but now this is about pride. You want to see your name at the top of the list.
He's out on the super softs.
That means if he does start the race on super softs, then he would have to improve. Yeah, but he runs very, very wide. Obviously aborts the lap. Also, it's an extremely unfortunate place to lose it, because even if you do catch it, you lose so much traction that if you want to do a fast lap the next lap, it's already been severely handicapped on that straight.
And the tires overheated.
So you'll be
And he
disappointed
still
with
needs
that,
time.
as he'll come back into the pits. Still got 5 minutes, so he should be able to get out there and have another run. So that's your top three: Connor, Cameron and Ronald. Come on, Captain Ice, get up into third so we can have C, C and C. Well, or Cowboy. Obviously, if all calculations go as planned, we should just lose 4 drivers, but I think we might see a top 9 in Q1, so just be ready for that. And I think the driver who's sitting in 10th place doesn't really want to be there. After what we saw from Q1 to Q2, I don't think 10th place is very safe at this point in time. So Steffi will want to improve on that lap time. Currently at 106.9. And I think he's got more than that, so keep our eyes on him. Let's have a look. He is out on circuit, driving the Alfa Romeo Sauber. Currently in 10th place, like I said, with a 106.9. Going through the final 2 corners. See what sort of lap time he can put down. Well, that gets him out of 10th, and Captain Ice has retired from the session just as Staffy improved. So now Captain Ice will be trapped in that 10th place, and well, he's gone 11th, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
So Staffy back in that tentative position. We don't really know if he's going to be in Q3. So just the 3 men so far being able to break into the 105s. And
interesting to see
those top 3 all did it on ultras.
Interesting. Wolf also now out on a set of ultras. I personally would have stayed with the super softs.
I actually prefer, if I can get into a good position, I prefer to start on the harder tire, because if you can make up 1 or 2 positions and then hold your position for a couple of laps, even if you're holding someone up, that is time that they could be running away from you. So I would start on the harder tire and go longer into the race, and let people who are battling to get past me destroy their tires even faster.
Just trying to see what Morris is doing.
See, not a very long track. One of the shorter tracks on the calendar, as you can see by the lap times. Just 5 seconds over that minute mark.
The Wolf goes out of his lap.
I believe it's somewhere in the low range 4 kilometers. So between 4 and 4.5p. That's going to give you a total of 71 laps over 100% race distance. So it's going to be challenging. There's a few corners here that if you do them 71 times, you might just mess up the ones. having a look, no one out on track at the moment, just Morris currently in 12th place in the McLaren.
He's gonna retire. Or not.
Well, he's activated DRS, and usually that's an indication if a guy's going for it or not. Let's just keep our eyes on him, see if he can improve on that.
No, he runs out of fuel.
And that's the end of that then. And just retire from the session. Obviously he's out of that top 10, so that's the end of qualifying for him. And can't really tell you right now, but in a few moments time we'll know if Q3 is a top 10 shootout or a top 9 shootout. So we're obviously just waiting for the last guys to retire from the session. Y-Racer seems to be coming into the pits. I hope he doesn't go into the pits and sit there. Still got just the 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Might as well start reading out some of these results. I don't think they're going to change. So it was a provisional poll for Q2. We've got Connor. That 105.3, it was quite a dominant lap time over the session, 0.4 of a second. Down, you'll find Cam. He's got that 105.7. Ronald in third, also 105.7, nothing in it between those two. Wolf in fourth, and realistically that's a 106.0, so he's not far off either. And then rounding up the top 5. Obviously the vet, DW, always seems to be in the mix. I can read you the rest of the results now. 6th place went to Vino, 7th place Cowboy 33, 8th goes to Tix, 9th Y-Racer just squeezing in there, and then 10th place goes to Staffy. I see that his name is not grayed out, so I think we will see Staffy in Q3. And then obviously Captain Ice, Morris, Heno and Deathseeker falling out of the session, with Deathseeker not setting a lap time. So going into Q3, what do you think prediction wise from what you've seen? Q1, Q2, Connor seems to be quick. Do you think he has Q3 under control, or are we going to see some surprises?
I think he might have it under control, but we haven't seen the best of the vet with Y-Racer. Even Cameron, we've seen he's at the pace. Even Tex is also usually very fast. So this is going to be quite interesting.
Obviously now in Q3, there'll be no doubt about it. Everybody's going to be out there on a set of ultras. Everybody's going to go out there on the fastest tire available. They're going to be giving everything. So for this session we don't need to worry about who's on supers and who's on ultras. They're probably all on the same tire, giving it all they've got. And in a few moments time we'll start getting some lap times in and getting some data.
And if you want to know what was the first car out, it was the House of Tux.
Good thing I'm riding with Tux. Obviously Q3 is a shorter session. If I'm not mistaken, starts with just the 12 minutes. So recommendation is to get out there early, because if you do need, depending on the circuit, if you do need a second or even possibly third run, you need to get that first one out of the way extremely quickly. So that's why we see a whole bunch of cars jumping on the track. Very short lap over here in Austria, so I think it would be one of the tracks where 3 flying laps in Q3 is a possibility.
Yeah, it is actually.
Don't think it would be possible at Spa, but over here definitely.
Yeah, Spa, I think you only be able to get in 2 laps in Q3 due to it being such a long track. Now I only have one driver left still in the pits, Y-Racer.
Still riding on board with Tux, the Haas driver. Been putting in some good time so far over the course of Q1 and Q2. Goes over in a 105.6 as a benchmark time. Gets beaten immediately by Cam with a 105. Well, they just keep on coming. I can't even finish my sentences. Now Vino goes over the line. 105.5. Laps carry on coming. Staffy goes 5th with a 106.3. Then you've got Cowboy 6th, 106.7. And we're still waiting for a lap from Connor, Wolf, Y-Racer, and obviously DW. Y-Racer out on an outlap.
DW is now entering the final sector on a fast lap.
Connor beginning a fast lap. Just saw him go over the line to start his fast lap. DW goes 5th for the time being with a 106.0. I'm sure he would have liked to have dived into the 105s, and as I say that, Tix goes around in a 105.3, and they just keep on getting faster. Where is Connor, and is a 104 possible?
He's entering the final sector now.
Let's go on board with him. Hopefully no commentator's curse this time. I join him on board as he goes around the penultimate corner. Goes past the pit entry, doesn't want to go in there. He's going to go over the start finish line. Let's see what lap time he can put in, and look at that, he takes pole. Provisional pole, a 105.2. Nicely done. Just a 1/10 of a second between first and second, so nothing in it. Still a lot can happen. Guys are going to come out and have a second run, and I think we will see these lap times fall further. Y-Racer, the only man so far not to have a lap time registered. He's out on track now, but seems like he might have found some traffic on circuit. That'll obviously affect. Yeah, he's run wide, got a bit of gravel. So hopefully this is an outlap, but I don't think it is.
No, it's fast.
He'll be disappointed with that. But look at that. The top 7 are in the 105s. That's impressive.
And the vet is actually improved to 3rd place though.
On 3rd with a 105.5. Previous lap time was a 106 flat. So he took a further half a second out of his time. Good going. And then just 3
and a lap of Y-Racer.
Y-Racer went 8th with a 106. And now that is what you call a 106 flat.
Yeah.
That is literally a 106 flat. How many times do you see that? 106, 0, 0, 0. Brilliant. Ronald just riding on board with Ronald, going slowly, obviously on an in-lap or maybe on an outlap. In McLaren, I think he'll be happy with that time so far, 105.7. But I think if you're in that position, if you're in 7th place, 105.7, provisional pole is a 105.2, there's half a second in it, and you have to have another go. Maybe he's not thinking about that, having that 3rd go, because he's going awfully slowly on this in-lap.
Cam is now starting his fast lap.
Going around obviously in the Ferrari. His teammate for today is Wolf, It's currently 4th with a 105.5, Cam with a 105.6. So just a tenth of a second between the teammates. But it's always good for the bragging rights. Cam is now in sector 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think I know this track.
He's starting sector 3 now.
Start sector 3. It's an important part of the circuit because it's really quick, but you've got to get it right. If the car starts squirming,
you're losing a lot of time.
If the car starts squirming, there's just no way to get that time back. He's going to go over the line. He does improve. Does a 105.4. So he's really up with the pace today. Really nicely done. For the top 3 as they stand, Connor now first, Tick second, Cameron third, DW comes up in 4th, and then Wolf in 5th. 6th place we have Vino, who's obviously not going to take any further part in this session. Seems to have retired. Ronald 7th, Y Racer 8th, Staffy 9th, also retired from the session, so he can't improve on that. And then 10th place Cowboy 33, 106.2. If you look at that, a 106.2, all he needs to do really is improve by 0.2 of a second. He's going to be an 8. So
yeah,
really needs to have another go at it. There's nothing in it. First place 105.2, 10th place 106.2. 1 second within the top 10. Absolutely nothing there between the top 10.
Much closer than it was last season.
And the hope of bringing that rule change into TnB with the default setup was that we might see something like this. And if the first qualifying session I've commentated in Season 2 is anything to go by, it might be working. Wolf goes second with a 105.2, and look at the difference between first and second. Again, nothing in it. I think those two are going to be very interesting under race conditions. Their pace incredibly similar.
He catches up by 2/10 by the look of it. He runs wide. I think he might be invalidated. No,
6 gets a 105.1, just so close, but so far from that 104 mark. Will we still see it before the end of the session? I don't know. Connor's in the pits. I'm not quite sure what Wolf is doing. Could be on an outlap. Maybe just preparing for one more dash. Cam is on an outlap. He's got a minute 25, so he needs to get around. Doesn't need to waste any time.
I don't think Connor's gonna come out again.
DW goes around the final corner. He goes onto the pit straight and over the line. I think that may have been an exaggerated outlap from me. But
he's starting his fast lap.
Just 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Let's have a look. Who is on circuit and who is doing a fast lap? Cameron is out there in sector 1 as we speak. Let's go on board with the Ferrari driver, currently in 4th place, 105.4, and there's actually nothing wrong with that time. He's just about 3.5 tenths off the pace.
We're coming to the last corner now.
We join him as he goes over the final corner, goes over the line. Does he improve? Stays fit.
No.
Stays fit for the time being.
He crossed the line before the end of time, so we can still complete this lap. And Cam goes fastest. Is he gonna get his first pole in TnB? Or that I know of?
That's right, there's no time remaining. So obviously just whoever's on a fast lap can finish that fast lap. But if things remain the same, I think it may be a first TnB career pole for Cam. If I'm mistaken, then riding on board with Cam's AI car, he's just lost the wheel, so commentators cursed to the maximum. Tux is in the pits. The top four are all in the pits. So only if Ronald can do something.
No, he
slows down. He slows down. He's coming into the pits. That's the end of that. And it seems like that's it. So we can start going through the results in the meantime. If I'm not...
Sorry,
well,
if I'm laughing.
I think first place, that's going to be Cameron. Pole position for the opening round of Season 2.
Someone just... on our group, someone said 2019 is weird. Cam on pole, I call Axe.
Nicely done. Nicely done to Cameron.
Well done, Cam.
And if you're listening, congrats. If you hear this later, congrats. Nicely done. Keep it together. One of the things about this track that it's important that every track obviously, but there are just some tracks on the F1 calendar that it's a little bit more difficult, and that's that first corner. And Austria is one of them. Don't want to be too aggressive into turn 1. Just waiting for those final standings, and there it is confirmed. Cameron takes pole position for Scuderia Ferrari. Tix will be in second. Connor, who was first and second in Q1, Q2, he's going to finish in third. Wolf finishes fourth. He's been in the top 5 the whole time. DW fifth. Ronald in sixth. Y-Racer just managing to get 7th, but I definitely think he's got more. Vino comes up in 8th. Cowboy 9th. And then Staffy rounding up the top 10.
And just to say, if you don't see Staffy in 10th, he got the 5 place grid penalty in Q1. It looks like we're having a dry race, Jono.
Seems that way. Seems like we will have a dry race. Obviously, we're just waiting for... obviously, nobody's fiddling with the setup. So, obviously, just looking at their strategies, making their final decisions. And what will Cam do from first place? Quite frankly, I'm a slow driver and I know it, but I'm so used to starting at the back that occasionally when I have a decent qualifying session and start in 10th, I don't know what to do. As I say that, we're on our way for the formation lap. And if we're not mistaken about that pole position record, then Cam should be leading his first formation lap. That's also a relatively new introduction to TnB. We haven't had the formation lap the entire time. I'm not sure if you can just disqualified. Burkie being disqualified, so he'll be sitting on the pit start for an awfully long time. It takes a while when you're sitting there listening to the car idling.
Gavin as well.
Gavin becomes the second victim to get disqualified. Might want to have a better start to the race than start to the formation lap. Monet becomes the third victim. So 3 cars.
We are now 20 drivers.
That tells me that 3 cars have not been able to get around the formation lap without making some sort of contact or leaving the track. So it also makes it more difficult that obviously on the formation lap you can to a degree warm up your tires and your brakes, but I'm not quite sure what happens if you get disqualified in the first sector and you sit there the whole lap.
They've tested it, nothing happens. Unless you went on the grass when you got disqualified, then you have grass in your tires for the start of the race.
We had a bit of activity on the YouTube comment section earlier. Thanks for everyone who interacted with us. But I do see a lot of them were drivers because it's gone extremely quiet. Even a few drivers who weren't able to join us today. Thanks for watching, guys. And now as the guys line up, we're waiting for the red lights. Obviously, the same as every season. We wait for the 5 red lights. They go out and we're on our way. Cam is going to lead from the front. Let's see what kind of start he gets, and it's go. Haas gets a good start there in second place from Tix. Seems like Cam's got it covered. Covers the inside line nicely. Closes the door. Let's have a look further back. Looks like everyone got through to turn 1. That is nicely done. Cam still leads. He's got Connor up in second, chasing him, very close. Obviously very, very early stages of this race, but seems like Connor's got pace. And he wants Cameron to be aware of it.
Another driver to be aware of is Gavin, down in 11th, starts at 15th.
Gavin down in 11th obviously had the unfortunate incident happen to him where he got kicked out of Q1, my apologies. Wasn't able to be in Q2 or 3, and had to start down the order. So he'll be making his way up. He's one of the faster drivers. Good driver, fast driver, aggressive driver. So I'm sure he can make a few passes. And
and Connor is past Cameron.
Fortunately, we missed that, but Connor passed Cameron. Hopefully everything was clean there. I wasn't able to see that. But
there was some bumping.
Seems to be 8 tenths of a second up the road already. So seems like Cam came off second best there. I think maybe just if there was a collision, maybe it impacted him getting going a little bit more. Half a second in it. Cam still got the pace, so he's going to come back. If he doesn't have damage, he's definitely going to come back. Just 3 tenths of a second. This is lap 3, so very soon he's going to have DRS, and when you've got DRS available, a gap of 4 tenths of a second is not something to be worried about.
Just one question, Jono. Can you jump onto Frikkie?
I'll have a look at that now. No. Frikkie obviously did not start the race, but somehow made it onto our standings. But he has had a bit of bad luck with internet on his side of the world. Hope that can get sorted out as soon as possible. Also one of the good guys to drive with. Having a look now at that battle for the lead. It's there and thereabouts. Penultimate corner, final corner. Cam's going to have DRS on the straight. What's he going to do with it? He activates DRS. I don't think he's quite close enough. It would take quite the aggressive move.
Just saw
the nose of that Ferrari move a little bit, so that tells me he thought about it for a second and then said, nah. And look, there's been contact. There's been contact. Cam has gone past Connor, but there was definitely contact. I can't see any visible damage at the moment. Let's just go on board. And no damage that I'm aware of, but definite contact. It's actually quite lucky to keep all of his wing there. And there's more contact.
Contact.
These two seem to be playing bumper cars at the moment. Maybe it would be best for one of them just to hang back. They're both so quick that if they just raced in single file for 5 or 6 laps without having a go at each other, they'd probably run away from the rest of these guys. It's a bit of a gap forming down to Tux, and that's Cam.
There goes Cam.
Cam is out. Cameron is out. That's the end of Cam. Started from pole position. Surprised everybody there. And led the race for about 3 laps. Had a few battles with Connor, but yeah, he's done something that he's done a few times before. And I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with himself. Reynolds not having the best of days. They're in 16th and 18th, Devon and TnB Wes. But now obviously they'll be 16th and 17th as they pass the stricken car of Cam. And obviously Judge is not a runner. So just the 17 cars left in the race. Connor leads the race by 1.2 seconds from Tux. I don't know if Connor has any damage to that car. Were 1 or 2 excursions there with Cam.
It looks clean. I can tell you someone that is having a brilliant race at this stage is Gavin in 6th place, starting in 15th.
He's going around in 6th place in that Ferrari, and he's beginning to he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. And you know, it's one of those tracks that it's really not difficult to cut
There's
corners.
A battle in the lead for second. Sorry, Jono. It's a freeway battle for second place. And it's heating up.
Let's just go with your leader for a second. He's obviously now leading this race by 1.5 seconds. So just stretching that advantage, but probably not as quickly as he'd like. Stretching it ever so slightly, it actually goes down by 0.2 of a second. So just holding firm on that gap between Connor Young and Wolf at the moment. Tux third, not far behind Wolf. Gets really close there into turn 1, thinks about it, but says no. Ronald in 4th, nothing in it here in the top 4 really. Between Wolf, Tux and Ronald, nothing in it. Running line astern, and there's been a pass, a bit of contact, but Haas driver gets it done. Tux now in 2nd place. I'm sorry, my screen is jumping. Rob, is your screen jumping?
Not that I can see, Jono.
Anyway.
Gavin and the vet's having a battle.
Well, my screen says that he's ahead. Well, he is ahead. As I tune in, he goes around, makes the pass on DW. These two guys actually have very similar pace. Could be in for quite a battle. Just have a look here. Something that could be interesting is I haven't actually had a good look at the tyres. Obviously your leader, Connor, is on a set of ultra softs. Then you've got 2nd and 3rd place. Interesting, they're on super softs. They're on the tyre that's going to take them longer into the race. Then you've got Ronald in 4th place, also on ultras. Gav on ultras. in 5th place. That must have helped him getting up the order, but he's definitely making full use of those ultra softs. DW on a set of supers, so he can also go longer. And then the only man on the track is Y Racer on a set of softs. So maybe a one stop? No, couldn't be. How far do you think the set of softs will take you?
Well, when I checked, the super softs could take you 45 laps when we were in the practice session. So I think maybe
it's
about
totally possible.
50 laps, between 50 and 60 laps.
So then it's totally plausible that you can do a one stop from softs to supers.
Yeah.
Well, we're on lap 9 of 71, so that will unfold as we go forward, but we still have a long way to go. Don't know how many of these guys are thinking about their first pit stop. Has that entered their mind?
I mean, maybe the drivers on ultra softs, but super softs and obviously wires on the softs, maybe not.
But I'm disappointed about Cam. Really showed some speed. And look at his fastest lap, 109.9. Fastest lap of the race so far is a 109.8. So he's right up there on the pace. And just got it wrong on that final part of the circuit. We do have some viewers. You can see from the comment section there are a few guys around. Guys can let us know. Do you have any predictions? Winner, podium? And were you surprised by qualifying? DW still going around for Red Bull. He's in 6th place. That gap just opening a bit now to Gavin. He's not quite so close. Probably just going to fall out of DRS pretty soon. And Gavin will now start his trip down the road to Ronald, who's his next opponent, in 4th place. He's doing a really great job. Getting past such a large amount of cars without incurring any damage. Also, another thing that's changed it up a lot is obviously ERS. If you know how to use it and you use it at the right time, you can have a great advantage.
Yeah. Wolf and Tex is still having a ding-dong battle for second.
So Connor still leads from Tex by 4.6 seconds. Then we've got Wolf in 3rd. Wolf's just gone 2nd. Nicely done.
Connor pitted. As he goes for a set, another set of ultras.
Wolf is in 2nd, but look at 3rd and 4th. Sorry, I'm reading this completely wrong. 1st, 2nd and 3rd. There's absolutely nothing in it. They line astern. And this might actually work to Connor's advantage. If these three are fooling around and potentially losing time, then I think it will work out for the man who pitted first.
It depends on how fast you can get by the two Red Bulls, and we know the two Red Bulls are very good at
Y-Racer,
defending.
Y-Racer and DW both very good defensive drivers. Three-second time penalty for Wolf. We'll have to try later on. We'll do it later on in the race. Not now, it's too early. But we'll try and have a look and get some sort of understanding of what's happening with these penalties. Obviously, you get 3 every now and then, and by the end of 71 laps, it could be a lot of time.
So he passes Y-Racer quite easily, but the Y-Racer obviously on the softs. But it's a very interesting top 3 that we have at this stage. Interesting podium.
We've got Tux, Wolf and Ronald all doing a great job.
McLaren. McLaren.
And Gavin not far behind. These 3 are now going to come into his view very shortly, 2.3 seconds down the road. So he's going to be there. And this train of 3 cars could soon become 4. And if they hold Gavin up, that could actually allow could allow DW to catch up. And you'd have a train of 5 cars here for the lead. Guys in the comment section seem to be enjoying the battle for the lead, so we're going to stay here for the time being. We'll just try and switch between the cars to get a different perspective, but all 3 of them very close together. Want to keep our eyes on Gavin. That gap was 2.5 seconds, it's just 2 seconds now, so he is catching this train.
No, someone went off.
And Robbie's just having a moment. I've done that on many occasions.
There was a car in the background while I was driving, and Garner has gone off track. Loses a win, so that ruins his race.
Connor now getting back on circuit. I didn't see that, unfortunately. And yeah, that's destroyed his race. He went into the pits first. Would have wanted to really come out now and do some fast laps on those supers, so that he could come out ahead of that train of 3 cars. But Vino now picking up a 3-second time penalty, so the time penalties continue to come in. And I think we might see some scary ones by the end of 71 laps. Top 3 continue, just riding in single file, doing a really great job so far, but I'm almost too scared to follow them because commentator's curse has happened too many times to me personally.
And Devin Ali is in the gravel waiting for the drivers to go past. Johnny, you know that the driver I've seen in the wall was Burki or off track, so that's so good battle for the lead, and it's getting bigger.
You see, there was initially a train of 3 cars, but now Gavin getting ever closer, just 1.7 seconds, so he's managed to find another 0.3 of a second.
Ooh. Surprising how long Ronald's staying out on his ultras and Gavin compared to Connor.
Very
early.
Just a comment from Wazzy. Obviously a driver that we're missing tonight. Wish you were here. One of the faster drivers, so disappointing you can't be with us, but I'm sure you'll be with us soon. Wazzy on the comments writes, Y-Racer looking good on softs. Will be fast in the latter stages. So he is just 9 seconds off the lead. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. He's
He's about
14 seconds off the lead, so nothing wrong with that. And if he's going to have the faster tyre in the second half of the race, things could flip.
Should ask Wazzy if he could make a one-stop. If Virus could make a one-stop. So what do you think? If you're still watching.
Was he saying that Gavin doing very well on those ultras, making them last, and there's even a possibility of stretching this into a one-stop. You just have to do some serious tyre management. Wazzy says he'll be back soon, and yeah, you better be back soon. Otherwise I'll go fetch you wherever you're hiding. Dick still leads the race from Wolf, followed by Ronald. The three cars still riding line astern. Gavin 1.3 seconds down the road. How eager would you be to catch this queue?
That's difficult to say.
Because
just drive your normal race and pace and you will catch up.
They're gonna slow you down.
Yeah. Unless you can get the move done and you are able to drive away from them, then it's on, eh?
But looking at these results so far, from what I've seen, and they're talking about it as well on YouTube, is that it's definitely a mix-up in the results. We are missing some of the very fast drivers. We're missing Nizmax, we're missing Wazzy, and I'm sure the results could look very different. Connor has retired. Couldn't really see what happened, but when he did retire, he was down in 13th, so he couldn't have been having a very good time. He's one of the quicker drivers in every session, led the race, so you'll be disappointed. And your top two for qualifying are both out of the race by lap 19.
It's in sector 1 or 2.
We're just waiting for Devon and Burki to go past Connor, and then we will have 14 runners remaining. Connor leaves the session, doesn't have any interest in watching the rest.
Some good racing here at the front. And
Tuxon
Gavin's now into third place.
So let's just have a look at the pit stops. The top 6 drivers have not made pit stops as of yet. Ronald has made his pit stop, that's why he's down in 7th. Maybe that was the right call.
Enters the pit.
Maybe that was the right call. Let the other two fight each other, and maybe the undercut will work. He's responded immediately.
Wolf is into the pits.
Wolf has responded immediately. Means Tix now leads the race. Leads by 1.8 seconds from Gavin. And that's brought DW up into 3rd. While Racer in 4th, still on that set of softs. And going to be interesting. How is he going to finish this? I wonder. Can you stretch that soft far enough to finish on an ultra? No idea.
You should be able to, because I think the ultras can last about 20 laps, 20 plus laps.
So if he can take this to lap 51, he can probably finish on a set of ultras and have an extremely fast set of tyres in the latter stages, closing stages of this race. But still so much can happen. Just lap 20 of 71. Incredibly long way to go. We followed Gavin on a set of ultras, Tix on a set of supers, DW also on a set of supers, all of them 20 laps old. So Gavin should be the driver to come in first in this top 3. But let's see what he chooses to do on that set of ultras. Brilliant race so far. Started in 15. He's up in second. Runner up from season 1. And good performance so far. So still leading relatively comfortably. He's got a bit of a gap, 1.7 seconds. TW third, and then Y Racer fourth. So Red Bull are third and fourth. Good for the championship. And then Wolf, after his pit stop, he's down in fifth.
Taxis into the pits.
Ronald's
and
lost
Gavin.
a lot of time. Ronald and Wolf were practically together, and now they're 7 seconds apart. Not quite sure what happened there. I know all about not having your best time on your outlap.
And guess what? Wolf passed Tax. So Wolf got the undercut on Tax.
So that now leaves TnB on a set of super softs. He's leading this race in the Red Bull. He's leading it from his teammates who's 10 seconds down the road, Y Racer. But Y Racer's on that set of softs, and it's really opened up an interesting part to this race. What will happen in the latter stages? How far will he take these tyres? And is he going to finish on the ultras? Not sure what that was, but somebody's left the lobby.
It was unknown driver. Never seen his name before.
Y Racer second place, but I don't think it's a very comfortable second place at the moment. He's got Wolf right behind him. Wolf will have a fresh set of tyres. Came out of the pits recently. Sweeps up the inside. Just needs to hold it together here in the hairpin. Doesn't want to run wide. Holds it together, and he's taken the position. And the Red Bull 1-2 is short-lived as Y Racer demoted down to third. But if he's playing the long game, he's going to understand that he's on softs.
Yeah.
And it's probably okay just to race his own race. Now obviously if he's thinking like a teammate, if he's got his teammate on his mind, or if he even knows where his teammate is, he could potentially hold some of these guys up, let DW run into the distance, but he hasn't been able to do so, and he's down into fourth place. And Gavin goes around fastest with a 108.7. Nicely done. He has come out on another set of ultras. We were thinking maybe stretching it, but that doesn't seem to be his plan. Still got 14 drivers racing around, doing a great job. 24 laps in. That's right, just 24. We're not at half race distance yet. Most leagues you would have raced in would have been in their final stages round about now.
Yeah.
And we're not halfway just yet. I think that final third of the race is what I find most challenging. I start missing an apex here and there, and it's difficult to keep the concentration. Gavin goes fastest again with a 108.2, making those ultras work. Let's have a look where he is on circuit. He's 5th, 3 seconds adrift from Y Racer. Should be catching him shortly. What do you see, Rob?
The Tux almost went into the back of the roof, trying to brake late, but it's almost costing him, so he had to run wide.
Don't see any damage, luckily enough, but that will just open up that gap a little bit, give Wolf some breathing space. But he seems to be coming back at him just 7/10 and now 6th. So definitely coming back at Wolf. Both, well, Tux is on a faster tyre. Tux is on a set of ultras. So with superior traction, I think he could be a real handful here, and if Wolf wants to keep 2nd place, he's going to have to
put up a big fight.
He's really going to have to pull out a good drive. While all of this happens, DW still races around at the front on that set of super softs, but the gap is closing dramatically. It was a gap of 10 seconds when we had the Red Bull 1-2. Seems to be something happening here between 2nd. They're going side by side. Look at this. Wolf and Tux. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? Hope there's no contact.
That's Wolf.
And they squeeze through, no contact. And Wolf manages to stay in 2nd for now on that set of supers. And I'm sure Tux knows at this point he's on a set of ultras. This is the time he needs to be going as quickly as possible. And well, look at that, he can't get past the Salva. So I'm sure there's a little bit of frustration building up. Just needs to stay there and wait for the inevitable mistake. It will come. Driver will run wide at some point. But he needs to be right on the gearbox so that he can take advantage of it.
Tux got that corner quite aggressively.
That won't help his cause. 3-second time penalty. Obviously we haven't. Burki picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty. So
and the Wolf runs wide.
Wolf runs wide. Tux with superior traction, with the softer, faster tyre, takes 2nd place. And now let's keep our eyes on that gap between 1st and 2nd, because I think Tux set free on the ultra soft is going to catch DW quite quickly. Carry on.
There was a battle between Y Racer and Gavin, but that battle is over.
Gavin in 4th place. His next target will be Wolf, but he's 3.6 seconds down the road, also on a set of ultras. So I don't. No, he's not. My mistake. Wolf is on a set of supers. So Gavin can potentially close that gap. 3.3 seconds for the time being. Just hovering around the same lap. No real changes in the top 4, but the gap at the top is coming down. 4.3 seconds now. Broken that 5-second barrier.
And there's a yellow. Oh, and
see, there's a Tux spun. I actually just saw, I think it was Gavin just going through the ghost of Tux. Car was horizontal in what I think was turn 1 or turn 2.
Turn 2, no, turn 3.
And that's put him down into 6th place, and he won't be happy with that at all. Also, one of the drivers who spent just about every session in the top 3, and he won't be happy with that. And the other two, Cameron and Connor, they're not with us. Cameron starting from pole, becoming our 2nd retirement. We're riding on board with Tux as he comes into the pits now.
Wing damage probably.
He has had one stop from what I can see on my screen, so yep, they're changing a wing. So that will throw him down further down the order. Going on to softs, maybe finish the race?
Thinking of going to the end.
Well, I think it's possible. What is that, about 42 laps, I think? Don't trust me, my maths is terrible.
Do the maths. That's why I have a calculator, yeah?
71 minus 29.
Oh no. Not minus 10. 71. 42.
Yeah,
41 laps.
Not too bad on the maths then. UW still leads the race. That gap now down to 3 seconds. And I think when Wolf gets him in his view, when the gap gets small enough that he can see him, that's just gonna... Oh, someone's over the grass, but I think... Was that a lapped car?
It's one of the Renaults. It was Vino. Oh, no, not Vino. Devon, sorry.
Just getting out of the way a bit drastically there. Obviously don't need to get out of the way that much. Just wait for a good part of the circuit and get out of the way. Don't actually take a chance of destroying your own race, because that could have ended badly.
And we haven't talked about Captain. He's sitting in 6th place.
Hasn't made a pit stop yet. Tuck's in 7th, 2 pit stops. And where's the other man on the grid with... Well, where's Burki, Tux? They're on 2 pit stops apiece. The vet now
I can tell he did
exiting the pits. Exiting the pits on... Well... You say soft. Okay. On the timing screen it says soft. On the car, Hartley supers. So we'll go with what you say.
Always go with the timing screen. It's more accurate than what's on the car.
While Racer now the leading Red Bull. Still going around on the soft. So it seems like the two Red Bulls are having completely opposing, the same strategy, but a completely opposing tyre strategy.
So, if we just saw from the W, he can, Horace should be able to take those tyres 29 laps. So you can maybe go until he has 29 laps left, and then switch to the super soft, or even try and go longer and then go to a set of ultra softs.
Just a question to the guys that are watching. Everything okay with the stream? It's been a while since I've done this. I just want to make sure that the quality and everything is fine. So I haven't been able to test it at all. So just let me know. Can you hear us fine? Can you see everything fine? Hope everything is working the way it should. Let's just have a look now at your leader. Wolf leads the race in the Salba. Lap 32. He leads from Gavin, who's not far down the road, 1.4 seconds in fact. And this is a guy that started in 15. Car gets a bit snaky there just before the final corner. Don't like to see that. We saw Cam come off in a very similar area, and it probably started something like that.
Gavin is in the RS range of Wolves. Not, I'm gonna activate the RS now.
Ronald seems to have recovered up into 3rd place, but that long train of 3, almost 4 cars is no longer evident. It's not there. Pit stops have mixed everything up. Battle we have now is really the battle for first. Gavin not far away, closing that gap, and soon it's going to be half a second. got a prediction for winner of the race from TnB Wazzy, and prediction for winner of the race is Devet DW, currently in 5th on a set of supers. Don't think he needs to stop again. So I think the guys on ultras are going to have to stop again, and that's your top 3. So
Both
just by
Wolf and
virtue
Gavin
of
go
that,
wide. Sorry, Jonah. Battle for first. Both Wolf and Gavin ran wide into turn 3. Now we're heading to turn 4. Gavin on the inside. Should be easy. Good overtake.
just have a look at Y Racer. Let's keep an eye on him. I think he's on a 1-stop, and his race is gonna come into its own, but later on in the race. And I think much of the same for DW. I think it's really the same strategy. They're just doing it the opposite way around.
Okay.
Whereas one will go later.
I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like the Ferrari has chosen to do the same strategy that Williams did a couple of seasons ago, with 3 ultra soft and 1 super soft.
Does happen on the game from time to time. Saw it a bit earlier with DW's car. Ronald still in 3rd for McLaren. And then obviously Wolf is 2nd. We missed that. Gavin has taken the lead of this race. And from P15, well, he's leading. It's on a set of ultras, which tells me he's gonna have to stop again. Still relatively new, those ultras, just 13 laps old. And then Wolf and Ronald, his main competitors for the time being, 2nd and 3rd. They're both on, well, Wolf is on supers, so I don't think he's going to be able to stay with him. What would be the lifespan of an ultra soft tire?
Between 20 and 25 laps, probably.
So these guys on ultras, Gavin's done 14 laps. So if he does another 6 laps and goes into the pits, he wouldn't have been able to stretch that gap. Let's have a look. He would, if he had to pit now, so he would probably come out in 5th. So it'd still be a great performance. So Gavin leads here at Austria, Season 2, Round 1, TnB. Started in 15th place, didn't have a fantastic Q3 session. Now finds himself in the lead. He's on the ultra soft tyre, the quickest tyre available on the weekend. And just stretching that gap to Wolf now, 1.8 seconds.
I'm sorry to interrupt, John, but we have a 3-way battle for 8. Between Cowboy, TnB West and Captain Ice.
And contact. Now we join that 3-way battle you were talking about. I think I saw a bit of contact there by the Renault driver. Don't see any damage on his front wing, so it couldn't have been too serious, but now they're going 3 wide into turn 1. That can't be good. Now they're going 3 wide down the straight.
I have a nice helicopter view of this, so...
Don't have that helicopter view, unfortunately.
It's gonna become a four-way fight. No, change to a three-way fight again.
And then Morris, the McLaren driver, he's bobbing and weaving in every direction. He just wants to get past these two. So Captain Ice in 9th place. He's got the freshest set of Ultra Softs on the track, just 3 laps old. So this would be the time he would want to push. He doesn't want to spend too much time in battles with other cars. If you do catch another car, you want to get past it as quickly as possible and carry on with your lap times. Fourth and fifth place still being held by the Red Bull drivers. I think we could potentially see 2 Red Bulls on the podium. I don't know about first and second, but both on the podium, I think that's a strong possibility. The top 3 is definitely going to have to stop again. But Y Racer will have the faster tyre. Just 3 seconds in between the teammates.
And DW has been struggling to close the gap to his teammates with a fresher set of softs. But maybe saving the tires for the end of the race to defend maybe.
Tux is still running around in 6th place. Earlier on in the race he looked in a very strong position, even looked like a potential race winner, definite podium contender. He's down in 6th place and 19 seconds adrift of TnB DW, who's in 5th. So the race hasn't gone according to plan, but you're still in the points. Bring the car home. 6 points, still a good amount of points to go home with after round 1. 14 drivers still on track. Cowboy 33 in 10th. That's your final points runner. Morris.
Some interesting news on Gavin. And you can finish your sentence first, Jonah.
Carry on.
It looks like Gavin has some end plates missing on the left hand side. Which, if he changes that wing, it's gonna sit him back again. Further than that you would probably want to be.
Well, he's going to have to probably stop again. He is on a set of ultra softs. That pit stop now, he's just going to be in the pits longer. So really needs to try and make the most he can out of this gap at the front. 3.7 seconds. He needs to extend it. And I don't know how he's going to do that with a broken wing, but he needs to extend that gap as much as possible so that he can come out in the strongest possible position. Strongest, I think at the moment he would come out in, I'd say 4th or 5th, yeah. 4th, he'd come out in 4th. I'd say about 25 seconds for a pit stop.
No.
What?
Yeah, about. He's losing time with that wing.
3.3 seconds now, the gap, 3.1. Seems to be losing time on the braking points. Every time he gets into a braking point, he loses 2/10. So maybe just braking a bit earlier to try and compensate for the wing damage. And, well, there it goes again, 3.4 seconds. So, hovering nicely. He's keeping it there, 3.4, but he'll want to grow it.
Yeah.
Seems like we may have just gone offline for a second. Can you guys see us now? Try to fix that as quickly as possible. Just let me know if you can see us. Just bear with us for a minute or two as we have a few difficulties, but I think we should be back online. Yep, I think we should be back online. I can see the stream. Well, let's carry on with this. It's lap 43 of 71. Gavin leads the race, still about 3.3 seconds, so that gap hasn't changed much. Look at that Y Racer fastest lap of 107.9. He's now on that set of super softs, and it's going to be his time now to go as quickly as possible. 14 seconds behind his teammate who's in 4th, and obviously DW on that set of softs. So both of these Red Bulls will be going to the end, and the top 3, I don't think they're going to the end. I think they will need to stop again.
Gavin's in the pits. And he changes his wing. Let's see where he's gonna come out. He's gonna be in 4th. DW just passing him.
It seems like we are back online. Thanks, Wazzy, for the feedback. I actually didn't even know I was offline. Thanks for that. It's lap 44 of 71. Y Racer in 5th. DW now in 3rd. So there has been a few changes. Gavin has made his 2nd pit stop, and he's come out on a set of super softs. So he's going to have a fast tyre to finish this race on.
And there's a battle for 7th between Wes, TnB Wes and Captain Ice.
The Renault driver just holding his position against the Mercedes, but for how much longer can he do it? Obviously Captain Ice on a set of Ultras versus TnB Wes set of super softs. So we know he's going to have superior traction coming out of corners, and even in corners. So let's see how long he can hold him there. Ronald is in the pits, and a wing change.
Changing to a set of Ultras.
Going for the quickest possible option. We still have a fair distance to go. We're going to do 25 laps on a set of Ultras. I think that's stretching it a bit. Gonna have to take care of these. Gavin in 3rd place. I think he's done all his pit stops for the day. Unless something unfortunate happens, I don't see him coming back into the pits. So he's gonna have a strong finishing position. But the man in the driving seat, I think, is the man in 2nd place. He's got that set of softs. He's going to go to the end. But Gavin is catching. Now into the 5 seconds, that gap between DW and Gavin. Gavin's going to have the much faster tyre. So I think those two will definitely meet before the end of the race. My race is still in 4th place. Also now on a set of super softs. Now in this part of the race, his strategy is to catch and pass. Tux is still in 5th. Obviously had a fantastic start to the race, had a fantastic qualifying session as well as a fantastic start to the race. And had an unfortunate incident that pushed him down the order. Now he drives around in 5th. Good haul of points this, just needs to bring the car home. Still don't know what's going to happen, still a long way to go. And I'd say the most difficult part of 100% is that last 10%. Just a bit of silence there. Rob, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am. Just itching to be driving. I really want to be driving. Very fun track.
One of my favorite tracks on the calendar. Say second to Monza. And yeah, I think if I had to leave the commentary box for one specific track, it would be this one. But I couldn't do that because it was round 1. But I think if this race had come at the end of the season, round 9 or round 10, I don't think I could have. That's extremely loud. Thanks for that. But anyway, lap 48. Wolf still leads the race. W still in a very strong position there for second. Well, I think he's going to potentially take the lead and could win this race. Depends what Gavin's got to say about that. Gap coming down a lot now to Gavin. It was 6 seconds. Then we saw it drop into the 5s. Now it's dropped into the 3s, 3.5 seconds to be exact. Captain Ice has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Robbie, I don't know if you can go into Race Director and maybe just get a feel for who's got the most penalties at least.
I'm trying to figure out how much Gavin has so far. It's on 9. He has 12 seconds of penalties. The most is going to be Burke because he has... Let me just get him...
Obviously the main problem with these penalties is we're not able to keep record of each and every single car's penalties. And when these guys go over the line, if those penalties have accumulated into the 20 and 30 seconds, we might be looking at completely the wrong result. And then get quite an epic surprise on the official timesheets. Guys need to keep all 4 wheels on the tarmac and avoid 3-second time penalties at all costs. And agreeing with Wazzy, it's going to be a close finish. Still 21 laps to go. Really feels like a long one. We've already done 50 laps. We still have 21 to go.
I'm not quite sure who has the most penalties.
That gap between Wolf and DW not really changing for the time being. It's been between 10 and 12 seconds for the past couple of laps now. Then Gavin just behind DW continuing to close that gap. I think we're going to ride on board with Gavin just for a while. So you can see him trying to haul in DW. He gets a bit of traffic. He has to get past Brookie. He gets past him pretty easily. But that will probably have just put him off slightly. It always does. Again into the second last corner of the track. Devon has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Gavin's going a little bit wild there into the final part of the final corner of the circuit. Not going to be able to make the most of this straight now. Really got to get that final corner just perfect so you can make the very most out of what is essentially a very short main straight. So we look at your leader. Wolf running around quite comfortably, 9.7 seconds, so it has dropped below that 10 second mark. VW still in second on his set of super softs. Unfortunately we can't ride on board with him for too long because that Red Bull sounds, well, it sounds terrible. Gavin in third place, right behind him, just 0.2 of a second. We ride on board with the Ferrari, nothing in it. You should have DRS now going down the straight. Activates DRS. Is he close enough? Will he go for it? Really gets close, and then I think he just decided not to. Really gets superior traction again. Now he's going to have DRS. They'll probably go side by side. Who's later on the brakes? No contact here. Oh, just about gives him all the space he needs. There was a little bit of contact, but didn't see any carbon fiber, so I think we're in the clear. Nicely done, Gavin, up into second place.
And now the thing for Gavin is to grow, to get that 12-second gap to DW to win this race.
I don't believe Gavin will stop again in this race. He's done 2 pit stops, so I don't think it would be a 3-stop. I think he's done, what, he went from ultras to supers. He's used 2 compounds, he's done 2 stops. I think that could be the end of his strategy as far as pit stops go. I don't think he has any intention of returning to the pits, as does DW. He's obviously got that set of softs now. But I think the only man in that top 3 that is going to stop is your leader. Because his tyres are 33 laps old and they're a set of supers. Don't think Wolf can go to the end on those, but Gavin just 9 laps on those tyres. DW 22 laps into those softs. Tuck's also on a set of softs. So a few other guys on that same strategy. Vino also on softs, and then Devon. And you've basically got your midfield on ultras. 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th all on ultras. Well, 6th, 7th and 8th. These things are a little bit small and I'm sitting quite far away.
6 and 8. That's on ultras that I can see.
Well, now DW, we missed it, but DW has gone past.
Gavin's off track and he's getting passed by Y Racer. And Gavin lost the wing. Gavin has no front wing.
That is going to bring him into the pits again. We were speaking about this half a lap ago, and I said I didn't believe he had any intention of returning to the pits, but I think he's going to have to. He'll probably monitor the situation over the rest of the lap, and if he sees he's losing time, it will be the only option. He'll have to dive into the pits.
Jono, he absolutely has no front wing. Only the cone is left. There is no wing. So he is going to have to go to the pits.
And
so,
I was not filming Gavin when he had his off, but Wazzy put a comment into YouTube over here saying that Gavin was having a really strong race and could win this, and then he went off. So I'm blaming this commentator's curse on former commentator TnB Wazzy. You need to get yourself back in the car very quickly, or at least in the comm box.
And guess what, Jonathan?
Red Bull's first and second.
Yeah, but I don't know for how long. The Wolf is on a set of ultras, and 1.6 seconds behind Racer.
He's on a set of ultras, and they're brand new ultras, so I think they're a little bit further down the road. TnBDW 7.5 seconds on aging softs, so Wolf could still come very much into this by the end of the race.
Also one thing to take in consideration, it's tier 1 and tier 2 drivers combined, so Wolf wins and then he gets 25 points for tier 2, and DW finishes first off tier 1, he gets to his 25 points, so I'm not sure who's in which tier at this stage.
Ronald now racing in 5th with his McLaren. Let's just see if we can get any indication on that. Okay, well, let's see. First place DW. He is a tier 1 driver, obviously. Racer, his teammate, also a tier 1 driver. Wolf. Let's have a look here. Wolf is a tier 2 driver, so Wolf would pick up 25 points in this scenario. And then
pick up 15. Ronald.
I'm actually not sure which tier Tix is in. I don't see his name here. But all of that will be decided later when the guys who work out the points, because I don't want to work out the points. My math leaves much to be desired. I think I'd annoy quite a few drivers with my math skills, so I leave that up to them. Gavin goes fastest, 107.7, fastest lap of the race so far on lap 57. It's going to have a point to prove. It's damage control now. Started in 15th, found himself first at one stage, and now he's made an error, lost the wing, finds himself back in 6th. Has to do it all again, but he can definitely get 5th out of this. It's just 4 seconds down the road. He's got a brand new set of tyres.
4th. Might even get 4th, which is 15 seconds. And a brand new set of ultra softs.
Well, that would be the gap between Ronald and Tix. 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 12.9. So it's possible. Still 13 laps remaining in this race, but he's going to have to belt out purple after purple. And it's, as I say that, goes around in a 107.0. Seems to be the fastest man on track at this point in time. That gap is now 2.2 seconds. So took a chunk out of it in the last lap. Got to keep an eye. Got to keep an eye on Gavin. Another thing we need to keep an eye on here is DW in first place. That gap to the Wolf is just 3.8 seconds. With about 12 laps remaining. So I wouldn't call it a comfortable gap considering he's on the faster tyre. And I think we're in for a close finish. Racer also in third place on the faster tyre. Will he play any part in his final laps?
I'm just going to see how much penalties the Wolf has.
TnB wears in the Renault. He's had a relatively quiet race. Actually haven't given much screen time to the Renault in this race. But he's doing well. He's in 7th place. Little handful of points for him out of round 1. Doubt he's going to get better than 7th because Gavin is 32 seconds up the road. And tell you that Gavin has been promoted to 5th. I think Ronald either made a mistake or Gavin caught him extremely quickly. Gavin now in 5th place and he's 9 seconds adrift of Tux. That'll be his next target. Well, he's going to have to find 9 seconds in 11 laps. Don't know if that's possible. Does have that brand new set of Ultras. Tix is on a set of softs that are 31 laps old. So can he find a second a lap? Gap's down to 8.7, it was 9, so it's come down a bit. But it needs to come down faster if Gavin hopes to finish in the top 4. DW still leading. I think he'll start breathing a little bit deeper now. That gap is now 2 seconds. And pretty soon you're going to start seeing proximity arrows. And we may have a battle for the lead in the closing stages of this race. Nothing's over yet. And I think as a debut for default setups, this has been a fantastic race to commentate on. So much to see, lots of action, lots of side-by-side action, and a lot of interesting names at the top in quali. And that's remaining. Let's just go through your runners again. Leading the race, TnB DW, awesome helicopter shot of him. So he goes through to lap a car there, down the main straight. He's leading this race by 1.3 seconds. Leads it from the Wolf in the Alpha. He's had a really strong race up until this point, and he's coming up extremely close. I think we'll go down this order at a little bit of a later stage. I don't really want to move the camera away from 1st and 2nd. We could see a battle for the lead with 9 laps remaining. Really taking this down to the wire. Y Racer in 3rd. He seems to be out of it at this stage. 8.4 seconds down the road from this battle. Don't really think he's going to come into it at this stage. And then Gavin continuing to catch Tux, 5.7 seconds that gap now. And he's making up time even quicker than I thought he could. Another battle we could probably just have a glimpse at, see how it's going. It's the gap between Monet and Captain Ice. It's 0.8 of a second. But let's go back to our leaders. 0.4 of a second there on my screen. It makes me nervous. I don't want to miss a pass for the lead. Wolf coming up really on the gearbox. He's got DRS active. Who's going to be later on the brakes? We know DW, fantastic defensive driver. And he holds on for now. But that gap just 0.2 of a second. And surely the Wolf will get him this time around. He does get him around the outside, doesn't want to run wide. He goes over the grass, and that's going to allow DW to retake the lead. But Wolf right there, nothing in it, 0.3 of a second. As I say that, and look at that. That was Devon, I believe, got out of the way again quite aggressively, reacted quite aggressively, and almost affected the two leaders. DW in fact had to slow down not to go into him, and that allowed Wolf to close in even more. Just 0.4 of a second in it. With 7 laps remaining. Now we're getting to the closing stages of this race, and we can't even tell you who the winner is going to be. As I say that, Wolf takes the lead, gets the inside. Vet allows him the space. But does he have anything left in those softs to possibly come back at him?
He only has to stay within 12 seconds of the Wolf.
Well, this will definitely raise an eyebrow or two, with Wolf being a tier 2 driver. Great performance by him, and possible indication of which way tier 2 could go this season. Really shown a lot of speed. He's made his strategy work for him.
Sorry to interrupt, but Gavin's within a 10th of Tex. With 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go.
It's going to activate DRS down the main straight. It's going to be who's later on the brakes into turn 1. Tex does have the inside line. I'm sure he'll just close the door. Pushes Gavin wide, but Gavin gets the superior traction. He's going to take 4th place away. Unfortunately for him, with 6 laps remaining, I think the podium place is definitely out of the question. But still a brilliant race. To start from P15, find yourself in P4. But I think you'll know deep down inside this could have been a victory. And what an epic victory it would have been. Now Ronald falling back from Gavin quickly, 1.2 seconds already that gap. And he is 11 seconds behind Y-Racer, so I don't think we'll see anything there. UW falling behind a little bit, 1.9 seconds, 2 seconds as I say that. So just falling back, Wolf leads. Anyway, you could have a look at the just to see if Wolf's penalties are extreme. This gap is just one. It's just 1.5 seconds.
The last time I checked, this Wolf needs to create a 12-second gap to win the race. So
DW is probably going to be the victor of this. I haven't really seen DW's name come up too much next to the penalties. Maybe I just haven't noticed, but I think he's got quite a clean record.
I've only seen him once. The time I checked and it was only a warning for exceeding track limits.
Lap 67 of 71. Wolf leads by 2 seconds. DW and Y-Racer, the two Red Bulls, they look quite safely in 2nd and 3rd. So my prediction may still come true that we will see 2 Red Bulls. I said we could see 2 Red Bulls on the podium. I didn't foresee a 1-2, but definitely 2 on the podium, and that's the way it looks. Unless Gavin's got 10 seconds in him over the space of about 4 laps, and I don't see that happening unless there's a big mistake by one of the Red Bulls or the leader.
Yeah.
I don't think there will be mistakes by any of these top 3. There's big enough gaps between them not to be chasing each other, and maybe at this point you can just settle for a 3rd or a 2nd. You don't want to drop out now.
The only thing that might make a difference is lap cars.
Still 14 runners in the race. So we had those 5 initial retirements early on in the race, but seems like the drivers stabilized after that. Obviously Judge didn't start. So 6 cars off circuit, 14 on circuit. And 68 laps around Austria. Testing race, testing track. Testing amount of time. And anyone who finishes this race has done a great job. But it just feels that much better when you finish in the top 10. I think Wolf will be happy with that. I'm sure he's aware of his penalties. Jeff is very clear about those. So I'm sure he'll know he's not the race winner when he goes over the line. And also, do not recall seeing Y Racer's name too many times. And I have seen Gavin's name.
Popped up now and again.
What about Gavin?
Gavin has been there a lot.
So what we'll have to do is we'll watch everybody go over the line, and we'll only read you the results when we actually see the official final standing with the penalties in it. But I think you're right, the cleanest driver on the day could actually be DW, and it could be what wins him the race. So sometimes there is no advantage to trying to take a shortcut. Start lap 70, penultimate lap, just 2 laps to go. Wolf still leads, increasing that gap to 3.2 seconds. Leads from DW. He's had a respectable race, had a solid race. Hasn't really lost.
Again. Sorry, Jono.
Well, Y Racer down in 3rd place. Gavin in 4th. Tux is in 5th. Was in a much stronger position earlier on. Devon's picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits. I don't think he's going to serve that. He'll probably just get that added onto his time at the end of the race. Ronald also was in a much stronger position earlier on. Finds himself down in 6th. And TnB Wes, he's been 7th. I haven't seen too much action from him. Captain Ice in 8th. Solid return to the track from an entire season in the commentary box. Jump behind the wheel again and finish in the points. Done a good job. Ornane Williams 9th. And then your last potential points finisher would be Vino for real in the Force India. Groupie and Devon, they're having a bit of a difficult time in 13th and 14th, but it's round 1. Things happen. I'm sure everyone who finished out of the points today, they can come back next week a lot stronger. Different track. It is difficult to maybe even do a track that you enjoy without the optimal setup that you enjoy. And I love Austria, and I went around here earlier with a default setup. It felt terrible.
DW jumps back to 1st.
DW has won the race as it stands so far.
Racer stays in 3rd.
Lara stays in 3rd, so Wolf will not drop any lower than 2nd. Wait for Gavin to come over the line, but his time we don't know yet. Let's see. Tux also got penalties, so I think Gavin could be safe in 4th.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Well, let's just wait for everybody to
Oh,
finish.
Captain Ice Captain Ice is finished 7th ahead of Weza. Oh,
That's
TnB West, sorry.
that's the penalties coming into play. Good job by DW on the day to win the race. Just being informed actually by Wazzy that DW was using no assists. So definitely does make a victory that much more impressive. Well, there you have it. Two
So we have
Red
a Red
Bulls
Bull
on the
1-2.
podium. DW in first, Yuri in third, Y Racer, so that's your top three. And then Wolf coming in second. And those penalties cost him the win. But I think regardless, he's going to be happy. He's going to be the winner of Tier 2. He will take home 25 points. Can't be too disappointed.
So, so in Tier 1 we have a Red Bull 1-2 for Tier 1.
That's correct.
Well done, Red Bull.
Well, there we have your final results. TnB DW, look at that. The only man on the grid without any penalties. Really great drive to win the race. No assists, no penalties. Good job. Wolf in second, Y Racer third, Gavin fourth, Tix in fifth, Ronald sixth, Captain Ice coming up in seventh, TnB Wes eighth, Mornay ninth, and then Vina Faril coming up in the top 10. Those are your points finishers. Out of the points, Cowboy 33, Morris, Devon, and Burki. Obviously, then we had the 5 retirements. Screens disappeared, so can't tell you all of those. Just waiting now. Let's see if these guys do want to come in and do podium interview, or if they all run out of the lobby. Just gonna try and invite some of these guys. Well, we need DW. Seems I don't have the rest on my friends list. Oh, there it is. Y Racer. And I'm not sure if I have the Wolf. Do you have the Wolf? I don't have the Wolf. Fortunately, I do not have Wolf.
I don't think I have him as well, so
We'll just try and get the 2 Red Bull drivers in here. Unfortunately, I don't have Wolf on my friends list. I can't invite him.
I
But
don't have the Wolf.
I have invited Y Racer and DW to the com box for an interview. Let's just hang around a little bit, see if they come through. Well, there we go. TnB DW has joined us, the winner of round 1. Just gonna see if Y Racer joins us. Obviously, we weren't able to contact Wolf. DW, good drive, 1 stop, stretched the tires, no assists, no penalties. I don't think it could have gone any better.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. And when I knew the guys got penalties, I just chilled. Just, make it hard for them, but don't make it impossible. I don't want to lose a win.
No, 100%. Really good job. No assists, no penalties. It's quite impressive. There's a lot of carbon fiber flying around today, and you were able to just obviously stay away from trouble.
Yeah, and I had a couple of close racing with Gav as well, and he kept it clean, tough but clean.
There was a lot of close racing. We actually witnessed that battle, and it was on screen for quite some time. I did give it quite a bit of footage. Well, DW, well done. First
Thank
place,
you.
round 1 here in Austria. And obviously we also have to say well done to Wolf for finishing second, because he's a tier 2 driver, so he'll be taking home 25
Yeah.
points as well. It's not with
That's
us. But yeah, make sure to add me on PSN and I'll invite you next time. Well, we can speak to our third place driver. Got Y Racer, and this is an introduction for me because I don't think I've spoken to Y Racer before. But third place, also a one stop, much like your teammate. You happy with the position, or you think you could have finished higher, or are you happy with that?
Oh, honestly, I wasn't expecting this because, you know, coming from VSL and ILR, they were both shit races this week. And I kind of was looking forward to the start of the season, but I also wasn't really that much looking forward to it due to the lack of pace I had in the past weeks. But to then come back to take second, well, which should have been third because of Gav's incident. But
Well, it will be second, and it will be points for second.
yeah, but,
So maybe just giving you a
yeah, but I
nice
mean, like,
motivation for Friday nights.
no, but I meant more like with Gav with the backmarker incident, and Tix had an incident as well, spin I think. So
Obviously,
benefited for those two, but
from a commentator's perspective, we're not able to catch everything, but I'm sure in the next couple of hours, all of those incidents and stuff like that will come up. But I think it was a great job by both of you, by both Red Bull drivers. You guys actually had the same strategy in reverse.
basically, yeah.
Where Yuri had the soft and finished on the faster tire, you started on the faster tire and finished on the soft. So you just stopped at different times, but you had the same idea. And yeah, great start for Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring, round 1. I don't think you could have wished for a better result. Very nicely done.
That's it.
I'm going to say my goodbyes because I'm tired of talking. I've spoken way too much. And thank you to everybody who's watched. We've got something crazy like 70 comments. So thank you very much to the guys who watched, whoever joined us. I hope you were well entertained and that my voice is not too irritating. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't done this in a while. But we'll see you here next week, same time, 8 o'clock for round 2. And we'll see you then. Thanks a lot. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.